Hello, everyone. My name is Jeanette Holloway, and I am the founder of My Phoebe. A Phoebe is that woman who has shown up in your life at the right place and the right time to help you navigate the muddy waters of life. And I have the pleasure and the opportunity of getting a Phoebe story from my dear brother and friend, Mike Jones. We are doing this as a special for Father's Day month, and Mike is here to share about his Phoebe. And without further ado, Mike Jones, would you just say hello to the people and just let us know, number one, who your Phoebes are?
Greetings, everyone. I actually have two Phoebes. Uh, to a lesser extent, Fannie Jones, and to a greater extent, Cristal Jones.
And Mike, if you don't mind, just go ahead and dive into your story. Tell me why Fannie Jones is your Phoebe, and immediately after that, share about Cristal Jones. And please share from the heart and just let it flow.
Well, Fannie Jones is, of course, my mom, who raised me uh, until I was 17 and got out on my own. My mom taught me several things. She wasn't the traditional mom. She wasn't the kind of woman that hovered over her children or always hugging on them and all that kind of stuff. That wasn't her demeanor. My mom was the kind of woman that taught you through situational things. She taught me how to be self-sufficient. I remember a time when I asked my mom to borrow some money. I was actually living on my own, and asked to borrow $20. I'll never forget it. And she said no. And I said, "But come on, Mom, I really, really, really need the money." And she said no. I said okay. So fast forward, I went ahead and somehow came up with the money and paid the rent, all that kind of good stuff. But years later, I asked her, I said, back in whenever that was, I asked you for $20 and I really, really needed that money. And you said no. But my brother, who was an IV drug user, could come and ask you for $10 anytime and you would give it to him. And I asked her why. She said, your brother was always dependent. She said, but I knew you would find a way. And if I had given you that money, I would have made you dependent too. So I saw the wisdom in that, but at the time, I really didn't. When it happened, I didn't see wisdom. It took years of contemplating for me to grab that. Another time was when I was in school and I really, really, really didn't want to go to school. I thought it was unnecessary to go and learn some things that I didn't think I would use later in life. So I kind of hung around school like most of the young guys did. We didn't go to class. We just hung out and got in trouble. And got home one afternoon, and all the grade reports had come in, and my sister made straight A's. My mom was sitting at the table, and she said, "See, your sister made straight A's." I said, "Oh, that ain't nothing. I can do that." She said, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Yeah." She said, "Prove it." So the next quarter, I went to school. And I went to all of my classes and I did my work. And when the grade reports came out, I had straight A's. And she looked at me and she said, you can do anything in life you want to if you put your mind to it. So those little snippets of lesson taught me a different idea of love that my mom saw how I was growing and she sought to pull that which was naturally installed in me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I couldn't see it, but she did. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't see that I was going to be this self-sufficient guy, but she did. I didn't notice how smart I was, but she did. And I thought about, had she pampered me, I would have been ruined. But she had to actually push me away from her.
Mm.
All of the crying and the nurturing, she had to negate that in my life in order to get me to grow into the man that I needed to be. So that's my Phoebe, the one that really, really knew me even before I knew myself and knew what it was going to take for me to navigate this life. That's
Awesome.
Fannie Jones.
Awesome. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And then you also mentioned Cristal Jones. So please share about Cristal and how she has impacted your life.
There's a scripture in the Bible that says, if all the things that Jesus had said or had done could be written down, the earth could not hold the volumes. If I try to enumerate all the things that Cristal has done for me in my life, I would be here forever talking about her. The one thing I always say about her is, if God had given me all the parts to a woman to put together, I still couldn't come up with anything better than Cristal.
Wow.
Cristal is the woman that allowed me to mature, to, I guess, to sink my roots into life. She's the woman that saw that Mike Jones was special. She's the woman that allowed me to lead. She in in life as a man, we have all of these requirements from women, and there's nothing wrong with requirements, except for a lot of times those requirements are self-serving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, with Chris, it wasn't self-serving. She was trying to get me to see the better side of me. And it was one point in our dating process that made me realize that this was the woman I should marry. Was at this time I had just gone belly up in my restaurant business and was really down on my luck. I was broke, and I literally mean broke. And we talked about dating and we talked about marriage over a few months. And she said, listen, I really, really, really like you. And if you ask me to, I'll sleep in the streets with you.
Mm.
I had never had a woman to say anything anywhere near that.
Mm.
All of my dating life has been the Janet Jackson syndrome. What have you done for me lately?
Mm.
But this woman says, I'm here for you. And no matter what we go through, I'm going to be here for you. And that told me something about the woman. And it actually taught me something about me, that someone could trust me with their life and the outcome of their life, that she saw something good in me, that maybe I saw it and maybe I didn't, but it had never been drawn out of my well. So when I started to uh, deal with this woman, she taught me how how to trust myself, even in the midst of having folk depending on me. Trust your decisions. I'm with you whether we are good or bad. Tr- Trust the process that we are going through. Those kinds of things that I learned from a wife, not a mom, not an aunt or a sister. This was a wife. And this wife really blew my life into the stratosphere.
Mm.
I became a businessman. I became an entrepreneur. All of these things I can really accredit to my wife, Cristal. Now, some people say, well, it was already in you. But then I think about Chris being a teacher, and teachers know how to draw everything out of the well of a student. So, yeah, I look at her and my greatest advocate. She's my biggest cheerleader. That I can't say I can't do anything wrong because that won't be true.
Mm-hmm.
But she has always been real with me and real for me. And I don't think I would be the man I am today had it not been for Cristal Jones. That's my Phoebe.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Thank you, Mike, so much for sharing about your mom, Fannie Jones, who didn't baby you and coddle you, but she taught you to be a man through showing you how to be a man and using wisdom when she showed you that. I love the story about, get the report card laying on the table and showing you your sister got straight A's and I can do it, then prove it. And you did just that. I love that story. And the story about self-sufficiency, not giving you that $20 because she saw something in you, that that independence in you, where she knew you would be strong enough to go out there and you would figure it out how to get the $20 that you needed to take care of your rent. And my God, Cristal Jones, if God had given you all the parts to a woman, you couldn't have come up with someone as great as Cristal. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful story. And I cannot wait for this podcast to air, because being around single women and they're always saying, oh, there are no men out here and they're not this and they're not that. But when you and Cristal got together, you were in a situation, just like you said, where you were dead broke. Your business had went belly up, and many women don't want to deal with a guy who's dead broke and whose business just went belly up. But thanks be to God for your Phoebe, your Cristal, who was right there when you needed her most, and she poured into you. And today, you are the man you are today because of her. Such a beautiful story. Mike, thank you so much for sharing from the heart about your Phoebes. I know this podcast is going to touch someone else's life or touch the lives of many other people. And thank you for sharing from the heart. Thank you for trusting me with your stories. And God bless you and have a wonderful day, brother.
Thank you. You're more than welcome.
My Phoebe is dedicated to encouraging women through community building, storytelling, and providing resources to help them catch and release the curveballs life will sometimes throw their way. And as author Noelle Schwantz so eloquently reminds us, somewhere in the world there is a darkness only you can heal. To do it, you have to face your shame. Visit us at www.lovemyphoebe.com to learn more.